Good morning and welcome to Sleeping Giant State Park. The reason it's called Sleeping Giant is because the hills here form what looks like a recumbent man, though that's probably better seen from the air. The plan for today is to tell you a bit about the history, show you the range of trails, and see the sights. We are here now. Take the Tower Trail up to the tower, then continue along the Quinnipiac, come back on the Green Trail, I think, and then do some combination down along the Violet, and then back onto the Quinnipiac, and ending on the Chin. We start off on the 1.6 mile Tower Trail, easily the most heavily trafficked, but there are over 30 miles of trails to explore here and 1,500 acres. In 1875, a boy fell from these cliffs, these cliffs on the Giant's Chin. On the backside, a mining company had been quarrying the trap rock for most of the early 1900s. In the 1930s, after negotiations, the then president of the Sleeping Giant Park Association was able to stop the quarrying and preserve the park. Now, it took some 55 years, but that boy who fell survived to repay his debt. The giant had saved his life, and he became president to save the giant. And his name? Arnold B. Dana. The main feature for many who come to the Sleeping Giant is the lookout tower. The tower was built by the Civilian Corps of Engineers on the left thigh of the giant in 1936. The National Register of Historic Places calls it rustic and Romanesque. Two things to note. The first is the web design that you can see on the western windows here that can be attributed to the foreman of the project, Harry Webb. And second, this carved dog's head that was carved for Harry's Doberman Lucky, who roamed the area during the tower's construction. We have 360-degree views of Hamden, and way out there you can see New Haven, and then Cheshire, and Wallingford less so. From here, we'll continue down the Quinnipiac Trail, the oldest of Connecticut's Blue Blaze trails. It connects West Rock Ridge Park to the south and all the way north to Roaring Brook Falls, with over 20 miles of trails. And speaking of the Blue Blaze, I'd like to thank Norman Greast and Richard Elliott with their volunteers who helped blaze the trail system here in the late 1950s. From here we could continue north to the Cascades Trail, but I'm going to head south while you watch some shots from the spring about why it's called the Cascades Trail. This Trap Rock Ridge, which you can probably just barely see behind me through the trees, is where you'll find at least two, if not more, of the caves at Sleeping Giant. I'll put a link to when I explored Dead Man's Cave, and here's some nearly unusable shots of Spider Cave, the other well-known one. You can just barely see the entryway. It's not this crevice here, but right below you to the right. Need a goddamn flashlight. This is known as Spider Cave. Not a very big room, but just enough to like almost stand up in. There's one of the spiders. All right. I think that's all that we need to see. That's how we get back up. And here we come to another of Sleeping Giant's overlooks. And we might not have a fire, but gather around. I think this is a good time as any to tell you the legend of Sleeping Giant. The Quinnipiac tribe who inhabited this region passed down the legend of the great stone giant Hobbamock. He taught the people to hunt and fish and to care for the land and its creatures, and when he was done, he left for a long time to teach others the same values. And when he returned, he found that the people had forgotten his lessons and were no longer one with the land. He was so angry, he stopped his foot, redirecting an entire river, and sought to further punish the Quinnipiac. Thankfully, a benevolent spirit named Canon intervened, putting Hobbamock to sleep. He has rested here for a long time, enough for the forest to grow over him, but legend has it that one day Caton's spell will wear off and Hobbamock will awaken again to punish us. So I hiked down the White Trail, through the picnic pavilion area, thanks, Walter. And now I'm on the Violet Trail next to the Mill River. We hike along Mill River, and Axle Shop Pond is the site of many mills in the early 1700s. In 1850, it became the location of the Mount Carmel Axle Works, which made the nation's first machined iron axles. Machined iron axles replaced wood with iron fittings, and it made this area nationally known for its carriages. Now, a bit further along the Violet Trail, we reached the mining operations I mentioned earlier. In 1911, Judge Willis Cook, the owner of the Giant's Head, leased it to the Mount Carmel Trap Rock Company with the provision that no quarrying be visible from the Mount Carmel Avenue. But as the cut grew and grew, a Yale Forestry School professor named James Turney decided to organize the landowners and create the Sleeping Giant Park Association that sustains the park today. As you're hiking, you're likely to see a lot of these colored numbers. They're part of a series of self-guided hikes that learn about the geology of Sleeping Giant, or ones like this for the self-guided nature trail that teach you how to age a pine tree or what a stilt root tree is. If you love the park, you can become a Sleeping Giant master by hiking all the trails here. So here we reach the end of our hike on the Giant's Chin near the site of Judge Cook's cabin from the early 1800s. So now you can come take a guided hike with a volunteer from the Park Association or load a self-guided hike onto your phone. Either way, Sleeping Giant is a natural refuge and a crown jewel of the Connecticut park system. Now you just gotta explore it for yourself. See you next time.